Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Really wish we were meeting in person. This would be so much more fun and so much more interactive. But I'm going to start by introducing myself. My name is Theresa Doan. I am the Corporate Social Responsibility Manager with Genesis Credit Union. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you, and we'll get started with that. There we go. All right, so I hope that you can see what I can see. So I'm going to start by telling you just a little bit about myself and my background and why do I think I know what sponsors want. So I started my career in media sales. So in media sales, my job there really was to work with businesses to help them sell their products. From media sales, I actually moved into the world of sports. So I spent 8 years with the Detroit Pistons at the Palace selling corporate sponsorships. So interacting with corporate sponsors on all levels, little sponsors, big sponsors, and really looking at it from the sales side. I'm selling sponsorships. So a lot of times when you're selling sponsorships, you get kind of caught up in the day-to-day of what are we selling? What do we have? What is our inventory? Not necessarily spending as much time focusing on, what do the sponsors want? It's more, what does our company need? From there, still stayed into sports, went to Jimmy John's Field in Utica. So at Jimmy John's Field, kind of a combination of everything. Still focused on working with the sponsors, very focused on what do we have to offer from the event side. So again, still looking at what makes sense for the event. Then the move into Genesis gave me the opportunity to be the sponsor. So all of my experience had been on the event side, selling the sponsorships. Then I moved into a role of what makes sense for the sponsor. So as a sponsor, I'm going to kind of walk you through what is it that sponsors want and what am I looking for as a sponsor. So really what the sponsors want is the sponsors want you to do the work and they want you to deliver on, what they're agreeing on and what they're seeing. So here's what I experience really on my end. I will have organizations reach out to me, event planners, and it's really just a cookie cutter. Here's our program. We want you to be the title sponsor. We want you to be the presenting sponsor. Here's what it's going to cost, and here's what you're going to get. That's fine. You can throw the wide net out there, and you'll probably catch some sponsors along the way. However, you're going to turn off a lot of sponsors by doing it that way. I really like working with the organizations that understand who I am, what I can bring to the event, and what it is that I'm looking for. So I'll kind of keep walking you through that. So a new approach to gaining customer loyalty is social responsibility. Companies have discovered that their customers and their new customers really want to know, are you aligned with me, the customer? Are you involved in the community? What are you giving back? Social responsibility has become one of the key reasons that sponsors are joining events. So when we join your event, we're really looking for, what am I saying to the customer? does your event align with my cause? Now, it doesn't necessarily have to be, an event that is cause-based. It can be a community event that is just fun and bringing families to the event. That's fine, because what you're saying about my business, if I'm partnered with you, is you're saying that I'm family focused, that I'm fun, that I want, I'm looking for the same thing that the event is delivering. I want to know that you, as the event presenter, care about the community and that you're thinking about what's best for the community when you're putting your event together. Me, the sponsor, I'm looking to create goodwill, positive feelings. I want to be associated with brands that are doing the same thing that I'm doing. And I would love to be able to, offer volunteer opportunities for my employees. Companies are not just looking for opportunities that make sense for their customer, but they're also looking for events that make sense for their employees. And so one of the things that Genesis Credit Union that we're very, very involved in and very actively looking for is opportunities to involve the employees, especially volunteer opportunities. So what else is the sponsor looking for? So one of the things that's actually really important in the financial sector is we are looking for opportunities to be on the stage by ourselves. We want to be exclusive. So it's really important for you to be transparent. Don't reach out to a partner or a potential partner knowing that you already have, 2 or 3 other partners in that category and not be transparent about that. One of the very first questions that I will ask about a potential sponsorship is, do you have other credit unions? Do you have banks? Is there other partners that are in my field, in my category? It's okay if the answer is yes, but it's not okay for me to come on board and then find out after I'm on board that you are bringing in, 2 or 3 other credit unions into the event. We do play well together. We're not, it's not a deal breaker, but you're not likely to get a lot of businesses in the same category to be partners on the same event unless it's something that makes sense. So if it's a event that's health and it's a health event, then to have multiple hospitals, partners that are in that field makes sense. But if it's a community event, then it doesn't make sense to have the same category of sponsors. We like to be competitive. We like the competitive advantage. We want to be the star on the stage focused on our business. We want a platform where, we can introduce new products and we can introduce new branding and not have to worry about competing with other credit unions or other like businesses that are doing the same thing. We're looking for, non-traditional marketing that would really, set us apart from everyone else. We like to be involved in community events because it's very different. It's not traditional. It's not the same. Here's my ad. Here's my interest rates. Here's why you want to join a credit union. It's something that's more interactive and really, like I said, sets us apart. So you will find organizations that are very, very active in supporting community events, which is what Genesis does. We support community events. It's really kind of become kind of the building block of who we are. Sponsors also want to build brand awareness. That's pretty standard and pretty traditional with any sponsor that you talk to, any event that you're planning. That's really a given. Everybody wants to build brand awareness. That is why we are partnering with you on your events. However, there's some things inside of that that are very, very important to think about. So me as a sponsor, I'm building brand awareness. What that means to me and partnering with your event is that I want recognition that I am sponsoring your event and that I'm a partner with you before the event. So everything that you are doing that is like social media, flyers, marketing, if you're using, media to market your event, if you've got a list of emails that you are e-blasting, we want to be recognized as you're marketing the event. We want to be marketed during the event, which is what most event planners focus the most on. During the event itself, that's a given. We expect to be marketed there. Signage, placement, announcements during the event, that is all really, I think, expected. But the recognition before the event and the recognition after event is really something that's going to set you apart from other events. One of the things that I find to be the most disappointing is that, I agree to an event. Yep, this sounds great. Love to come in as a sponsor. So I sign on as a sponsor. I see the event posted on social media, no recognition for the sponsors. It's just like, we have an event coming up, please come. So, what I'll do, just because I'm probably a little more aggressive than most of your sponsors, I then send a message back saying, hey, it'd be great if you could include your sponsors in this. Do that in advance. Like everything that you do to promote your event, you really should be thinking, how does this represent the sponsors? Because you want the sponsors to be happy. You want them to come back. You want this to be easier, event to event in year over year. You want your sponsors to be loyal and dedicated. So the events that I see that I guess I'll refer to as the ones that really get it. Like I see the recognition in social media. I see the recognition on their website. This is before the event even starts. I see it all during the event. And then I see it following the event with, the thank yous and the acknowledgement. That's what we're looking for. We're really looking for the entire package. So, another thing, and this is just going to be a little bit of information to help you, I guess, more on your side in approaching sponsors. So, one of the reasons, especially if it's a smaller business, but one of the reasons it really makes sense to sponsor events is, this is an opportunity to take your brand and partner with bigger brands and really to create, a partnership all the way across the board where you feel bigger. And so I used, some examples that I'll show you in the next slide. So in positioning your brand at an event, at a sponsorship event, like I said, you want to be included with other businesses that are, solid in the community and solid, with their recognition. So I used, Superman and Wonder Woman, clearly not sponsor brands, but just a good example of, who doesn't want to be recognized next to Superman and Wonder Woman? And so, logo inclusion with other companies and other community leaders is something that sponsors want. So, don't be afraid, to share that information with sponsors, potential sponsors. So, as an example, I've been um, recently contacted by an organization that wanted me to come on board, as the presenting sponsor. And they kind of felt bad and a little timid in asking me, hey, is it okay if I bring in another presenting sponsor? Is it okay if I could have two presenting sponsors? So, one, I really appreciated being asked. Maybe I want the whole entire stage, and I don't want to play with anybody else. But, my first question is going to be like, who is that second sponsor? And so in this situation, the second sponsor was T-Mobile. So an immediate yes. For me, that's just an immediate yes, because you are now positioning me with a national brand that I feel comfortable with. It helps that, my logo is lime green and that their logo is hot pink. So we're both crazy neon colors. We complement each other. So share that information, like fine, I've got Pepsi, I've got Budweiser, I've got Chevrolet. Like everybody wants to be partnered with like the big brands and even the big brands just in your marketplace. So, one of the things that you can see on the slide with Jingle Fest is, we are partnered with McLaren and we are partnered with Wellbridge. Now, these are both the local branches for Fenton. So McLaren Fenton and Wellbridge of Fenton. These are still big Michigan brands. So similar to Genesis, Genesis has a location, a branch in Fenton. So for this Fenton event, we are all local Fenton businesses. But on a bigger platform, we are partners across Michigan. We're much bigger in Michigan. And then also, I'm showing you, our event that we did with the city of Rochester. The reason I'm showing you that one is because, fantastic partner recognition. This logo that you're seeing, the Taste of Fall, was represented in everything that they did. Prior to the event, this was everywhere. During the event, because this was a month-long event, every restaurant had this inside their restaurant. Post-event, thank you to everyone that, came to the event, participated in the event. There was a lot of love that was shown to us as a partner of that event. So what this really represents is all of the different approaches that a sponsor could be taking, like for an event. So you don't necessarily want to look at each company and kind of look at them as a silo. So again, using Genesis, there's a lot of different reasons that we're going to sponsor an event. So looking at what's represented here, I'll start with the ice sculpture. So the ice sculpture is brand recognition. Fantastic way for, Genesis Credit Union to show their logo. Fantastic. Logo in ice. Amazing. That's very unusual and something that's going to get attention. It's probably something that's actually going to get selfies and posted on social media just organically. So above that, spreading the love. This is a food drive. So, Genesis is involved in this for corporate social responsibility. We're supporting a cause. We're giving back to the community. We're helping our fellow neighbors. So go across to, the photo that's top right. That's employee involvement, volunteer opportunity. How can I now brand Genesis internally with our employees and get them involved and them feeling better about who we are as a company? Slide, or the photo on the bottom, that is a B2B opportunity. So this is an event that was done with the Auburn Hills Chamber. This is business to business. So now I'm sponsoring to get involved with the local businesses, to put our brand in front of businesses, because it makes sense for us. We do have business loans, and a lot of the businesses have personal loans. So you can see here too what I was talking about earlier. We're, for a B2B event, we're partnered with Atlas Copco and with Tryon, big corporations in Michigan. So that there's a lot of reasons to be part of that event. Photo in the middle. This probably is the best example of employee involvement, giving back to the community. Like, is there an opportunity in your event to really showcase your sponsor and, do something like this where they can come out as an army, come out united? This does a lot. It brings the employees together. So the company is going to love that. Your sponsor is going to love that. But the branding that's really done on this is like second to none. Lime green shirts and an army that's really promoting your company that's just so valuable. If there's a way to offer something like that, to your sponsor. So kind of going back to, what did we talk about at the beginning? What does your sponsor want? Really, really, really important, to deliver on what you promised. So in order to deliver on what you promised, you really need to understand, the employees' expectations. So it's really important. So the most disappointing sponsorships that I have participated in are the sponsorships that I really just have to go digging to see, how were we represented. So, when we get to like the end of the event and I see no representation on social media. I know that our signage was, put up at the event. And I know that, there was a volunteer opportunity at the event, but, think about that. Think about what COVID has done to that, and think about what is that going to look like going forward. The event itself is now smaller because of the number of people allowed at an event. The opportunity for me to provide volunteers is now smaller because I am not really comfortable sending, my staff out to events. And if I send my staff, you now have less people that you can have, as consumers at your event. I'm eating up space. So it becomes more and more important, during these tough times to provide me, the sponsor, with exposure before the event, maybe social media exposure during the event. Push me out, while the event's taking place, and then post event, and send that to me. Send me photos that show me. Send me photos that show fun. And, it's harder now. You can't send me a photo that shows, everybody packed in at an event. So it's going to look sparse and it's going to look spread out, but we get it. But show me where I made an impact, where I was seen at your event. So if you send me, the sponsor, that information, and I don't need to go digging for it, I am going to be much more likely to stay connected to you and to stay a partner with you and to tell other businesses, hey, this event was fantastic. Because, businesses ask each other, hey, I saw you sponsored, such and such and such and such. How did that go? So the more love that you show the sponsor and the more that you deliver on what you promised, the more that the sponsor is going to stay with you. So here is my contact information. My cell phone number, completely okay. Text me, call me, email me, find me on LinkedIn. Happy to help however I can. Happy to look at, what is, if the event doesn't make sense for me, I'm happy to tell you why, or I'm happy to tell you, hey, this is really what I'm looking for as an event partner. I cannot see you guys anymore. Oh, wait, there I am. So now can you guys still see me? So, yeah, if anybody has questions, I've still got a lot of time left here. Being a presenter, not what I do. So this is much more casual, much more, I guess, honest about, what sponsors are looking for. And, hopefully, we can help each other. But I'm open for questions, or, anybody wants to give input. No. So I guess I can maybe walk through, because we've got a few more minutes here. So I can walk through, I guess, some of the sponsorships that, I'm currently doing, sponsorships that I've done this year, and maybe share with you, why I actually sponsored those events. So, just looking at Genesis, we have 32 branches. Mostly those are in the state of Michigan. There are branches that are in other states, but for this session, we'll just focus on Michigan. So I'm looking for a lot of different things, as a sponsor. So I'm looking for those real hometown events, because the branches in the local hometown. So I live in Ortonville, so I live in a very small hometown. So what the Ortonville branch needs to be able, to represent at a local event is that I am your local branch. I'm your neighbor. I'm here to support you. And so I look for, smaller events that can give me that exposure and that feel. So, events can be any size. So outside of that, I'm looking for bigger events. So the walk, to end Alzheimer, partnered with them this year. I'm looking for that as a bigger platform. That is going to cover many branches. So we refer to that as a regional event. It's also an event that makes a statement about our company. This is who we are. We care about the cause. We are sponsoring this event because we want a cure. We want to be involved. We want to do whatever it takes to improve your lives. So we would look at an event and sponsor a bigger event like that for that reason. And there are small events that would fall into that same category. Maybe you have a 5K race or the relays. Those are very small, very community based, but they still have the cause. They still have that same, this says good things about my company. They still have that, behind them. Other events that we've partnered with. So we talked about, business to business. So, with chamber events and city events, there's a lot of times that those are business focused. So, if there is, let's say a training session that, especially if the training session is something like how to survive, the effects of COVID, like not COVID on your health, but COVID on you as a business. So if it's something like that, we're happy to be involved and sponsor that because we know the impact on the businesses and that's something that they need. We want to be involved there because we're making, we're making the statement, we want to help businesses as well. And two, it's a lot of businesses that we can get in front of and create like brand awareness. But really still, it kind of all boils down to, social responsibility, which is really, like I said earlier, it's kind of the hot, I don't know what we want to call that. That's the new brand awareness. So, that's really something that's important. And it's the reason that it's important is, who's your target audience? So if your target audience is going to be, the young professionals and the new families, the yo pros, that's a generation that really cares about causes and cares about making change and not just running a business to run a business. So that's really how we're starting to shift. And, events is the perfect answer for that. It's a great way, to align your business with the cause or to just even give back to the community or show community support. Any questions, anything that I can help you with? So I don't know if my moderators are on here. I don't see questions or chats coming across. So I don't know if my moderators see anything differently than I do. So I'm going to put the slide, back up that's got my contact information on it. If anyone is interested in having me answer questions, having a conversation, past this, or even if you want me to send you the deck I created for the session, I'm happy to do that as well. So let me, I'll put that slide back up in a minute because once I put that slide back up, I think you'll lose me off my screen. So I see that Motown Digital just logged back in, maybe to check in on us. Do you see any questions that I'm not seeing? All right, well, if there's no other questions, I'm just going to put my contact information up there. I would, love to stay in contact with, anybody that's interested. I hope, you were able to find, some information in here. I guess the one thing, a couple things that I'll just stress, maybe in closing is that, you really want to just think about your client before you reach out to them. Don't just take your sponsorship deck and like I said earlier, throw that out like just a big net. Think about who you're sending it to and really, target, specific businesses. So if you look at it from the viewpoint of the sponsor, so if you were me, so if you're, the social corporate social responsibility manager for a credit union, what are you looking for? Like, what do you want out of your event? Think about it from their perspective as much as you can. I mean, it's a little hard because you're not in their, in their world doing their job. But what would you want if you were the partner? And I think that it's not just going to be cookie cutter. You can pick up sponsors like cookie cutter. You'll get those, and that's fine. You need those. Like you need a level of like, yep. These are some sponsors. But then you're going to need like your bigger sponsors and your lifelong sponsors are going to be the ones that you can truly connect with and truly deliver, what it is that they want. And, like I said earlier too, just understand what they want, put it on paper if you need to, and just make sure that you deliver that. When you are working with your teams, or if you're a one-man band doing it all yourself, everything that you're doing to promote the event, think in your mind, what am I doing for the sponsor? Is the sponsor included in this? Is there a way? You don't have to be, like crazy blinking neon. Is there a way to involve the sponsor where I feel good about this and they feel good about this? There are, there's an event that I just recently sponsored, and on the front side, it was everything that I was looking for. The person that presented it to me was giving me everything that I wanted, and we put it on paper. This is everything that I want, but I could tell from the minute they started promoting it, pre-promoting it, that they didn't understand the sponsor side of it, because everything that I saw was about the event, but there was nothing that intertwined the sponsors into it. There was no verbal mention. They would do, chats and videos and talk about the event, which is fantastic. Great pre-show promo, but they never said anything about me as a sponsor. They never, all you really have to do is just say, hey, this event, we want to thank Genesis Credit Union for allowing us to be able to produce this event. Nothing. So I knew immediately that I was in the wrong partnership. And, I knew then the next day when I saw it on social media, and again, there's no representation of the partnership. So, that's why I stressed in a couple different places, deliver on what you've promised. Know what your sponsor's looking for. So, just to give you a heads up on what I did with that sponsorship is called him up and said, hey, just saw your chat. Fantastic. That was great. Love the fact that you did that. And then I saw like the promotion that, that you did on social media. Really glad that we're getting the message out there. Like, would it be possible for you like to put, us as a sponsor, like in there? Is there a way that we can be added to that? So, instead of approaching this with like just hitting them over the head and saying, hey, pal, where's my stuff? I just kind of approached it as like, is there, can I get added into this? And really what I was thinking in my mind is, I'm going to try to help him. He doesn't see this as from the sponsorship side. So I'm going to try to educate him and help him. Here's what I'm looking for, softly. And, if he gets it and I get added and I'm on board, then great. I can probably move on to the next event and come on board as a partner and, kind of baby step my way through this. If he still doesn't hear me, and, I'm not going to make ruckus, and I'm not going to pull back my sponsorship money, and I'm not going to, do anything crazy, to damage my company's brand. But if we get to the end of this and I'm not feeling like what I was promised was delivered on, I'm just going to bow out and not come back as a partner. A lot of your partners won't take that approach. So, my approach is, hey, you just don't get this. Let me see if I can help you. Everybody's busy. Some of your partners are just not going to have time for that. So some of your partners are just going to look at it and say, okay, yeah, this was something new. I came on board with this. I'm not getting, what I was promised. This wasn't what I expected. I'm not going to be back. And then they'll just say no to you the next time, and you won't know why. So you're not going to have every partner. So you need to kind of think of this from the partner's side of things. So let me put my slide back up for you. And like I said, if you need any help, want my deck, anything I can do for you, want me to sponsor an event that you think, oh, you're perfect, come on board, just hit me up on email, and I'll be happy to help you. So I'm going to share my screen again so that you can see my final slide. So I've got some minutes. I'll answer this question. So if an event is July 2021, so the question is, when do you advise the person that's going after the sponsorships to start approaching businesses? With COVID, do you recommend waiting until spring to send out billing or collect sponsorship funds now? This year, we returned a number of sponsorships as they did not want to carry over to 2021. That is actually a really good question. So let me tell you about what Genesis did. So, we planned 2020, probably the same way most events or most companies did. The whole year's done. We'll pay these in advance. Like we put this in the budget, and we'll start paying them as soon as we receive the invoices. So then in March, when the event started to cancel, we had an event that canceled and would not refund our sponsorship money and would not move the money to 2021. So that changed our approach to how to pay for events moving forward, because we just didn't, nobody wants to just lose money, right? So we then can you even hear me? Probably not. I probably was on mute. You probably didn't even hear any of that. So I'm going to answer the question about when to. Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, good. Thank goodness. Whew. Thought I was going to have to start that all over again. So what we actually did was we contacted everyone that we had sponsorships with and told everyone, that we were going to say yes to new sponsorships, that we were only going to pay these 30 days in advance because we just wanted to guarantee that the event was going to take place. If you have a good relationship, which we talked about earlier, having relationships with your sponsors, if you have a good relationship and you need that money paid, because we get it, there's a lot of events that you need my money to cover costs and to cover the staff. And so maybe you can't wait 30 days. Just tell me that and let me know what's going to happen to the money if the event does cancel. If you tell me that I can have it back, or you're telling me you're going to roll it over, also don't be afraid to have that conversation up front, because everybody knows you didn't cause COVID, and COVID is changing like how we do business. So, just have that conversation up front. We're planning this event. Want you to come on board as a sponsor. if for some reason the event is going to cancel, would you be willing to roll the money over to another event? Would you be willing to roll the money over to 2021? Or would you be looking for a refund? It's okay to have that conversation and kind of get, expectations up front so that it's a little easier for you on the event side to try to figure out how to pay for your event. Now, the other thing I'll talk about too really quickly with, looking at July 2021, I'm looking at July now, and I'm looking at all of 2021 now. Now, that doesn't mean that you have to have all of your events in place because, sometimes I'll just put, placeholders where I want to spend this much money in this community in the summer. So here's some money. It's really going to be rough to plan 2021. It's going to be rough for you and it's going to be rough for me. So what are the events going to look like? Are we supposed to look at 2021 as if it was 2019 and we're throwing big festivals and we're bringing in lots of people? Or are we supposed to look at 2021 as no more than 100 people if you're outside, no more than 50 people if you're inside? How are we supposed to look at 2021? Or is it a hybrid of something in the middle? We understand that too. So put as much together as you can, because we're going to start making plans for 2021. We're going to start budgeting. As a matter of fact, I'm starting to work on my 2021 budget this afternoon. And it's really going to be difficult, but I'm going to take a combination of 2019 and 2020 and try to make something out of it. So that's, any information that you can give people now for 2021, do that, get the commitments. If it's okay to wait on getting the payment, then do that. If it's not, have a conversation with your sponsors. Well, I guess, no other questions. We only have 2 minutes, so we probably don't have to sit here and stare at each other. It was great, sort of meeting all of you. And like I said, please feel free to reach out to me if there's any information I can share to you. If you just, hey, a couple months from now and, you've got a question about an event that you're planning and you think, oh yeah, maybe Theresa can help me with this, feel free to reach out to me. Like I don't know if all of you, the ones that are left, were at the beginning of the session, but, I spent 8, 9, 10, 12 plus years selling the sponsorships. And selling them, on a big platform. So selling them for the Pistons. And then, and I sold big sponsors, little sponsors. I sold sponsors to DTE, sponsors to Meadowbrook, like big and little. And, and then I've also, now come onto the other side of purchasing sponsorships. So I can help you.